Welcome back, friends, to part 2 of my backstory. I decided to go for a change of scenery, so I'm actually outside in the heat, but it's not that bad. It's a cloud cover and it's probably about to storm, so hopefully we can get this video done before then. Okay, so I'm trying to do all of my videos chronologically, so if you haven't watched the intro or backstory part 1, you need to go do that first, or else this video will kind of be random to you. So I have my notes, because like I said in part 1, I had to go back and think about all the stuff that has happened and make notes about it so that I can give you accurate information. So if you see me looking down, it's because I have my notes here. Okay, so we left off in November of 2015, where I kind of just stopped seeing the neurologist, and I just kind of gave up because I was like, she's not giving me any answers and she just keeps giving me medicine and it's not working, Okay, so fast forward, January, February, March, I guess it's kind of a blur for me. I don't really remember anything remarkable happening in those months, but I do know in April of 2016, I joined a gym with a friend. She was from my new job, and she worked out 7 days a week, and she had invited me to join with her and to start taking TRX classes and stuff like that. So I joined the gym in April of 2016. I started working out probably about 3 times a week, and I noticed that helped me dramatically, with the pain and even the nerve pain and sleeping at night, of course, because I was tired, so I was knocked out at night. I also changed my diet, and so I felt pretty good. The only thing that I noticed was that I was becoming kind of obsessed with food, and I was restricting myself to only certain food groups. So I guess I was kind of going extreme, which probably contributed to some of the issues that I'm having now. But anywho, so after April, I guess I could say I felt pretty good for about 6 to 8 months. And then in December of 2016, I changed jobs and went back to the previous district I was working for, but I had a different position, and so that's the only reason why I moved. But with moving, now I was having to commute again, 30 minutes. So my schedule was kind of crazy, and I really didn't have much time, so I kind of started falling off from the gym. I didn't fall off completely, but I was falling off. Definitely because of the schedule and not having enough time. I did notice that when I didn't work out, I felt the fatigue and I felt bad, and it just wasn't good times. So in January of 2017, I started seeing a gastroenterologist because I had noticed probably for about 6 months prior to. So even with me going to the gym and eating better, I thought I was eating healthier. Eating better and all of this stuff, I still was having some digestive issues where I was bloated all of the time, and I was constipated all the time. And it was frustrating to me because that's when I was going to the gym and I'm doing all these exercises, working out, but my stomach is big because I was bloated all of the time. And so I'm just I can't even get my six-pack together because I'm constantly bloated and constipated and all of that stuff. So I started seeing a gastroenterologist, and at first it was kind of trial and error. They would tell me to do this, come back in a couple weeks, do this, come back in a couple weeks. So it was kind of back and forth. In between that time, I saw a dietitian as well. She introduced me to the FODMAP diet, and I don't know the long name that FODMAP stands for, but anyway, there's foods that are high in FODMAPs and low in FODMAPs. And so the idea of the diet is to eat foods low in FODMAPs to see, it's kind of like an elimination diet. And so you slowly reintroduce your body to different foods so that you can kind of see how your body is signaling to you, what is giving it problems and all of that stuff. That went okay, but I wasn't eating anything because it's eliminate everything that you eat, even stuff that you perceive as being healthy. So I mean, it worked, but it's if I want to just eat flaxseed and chia seeds and apples for the rest of my life, so that didn't work for me. So I kept on seeing the gastroenterologist. They did some tests, came back negative, did a CT scan, like on my intestines and all that. And that came back fine, all this stuff. So then the gastroenterologist was like, well, maybe it's your gallbladder. Because I was also experiencing some nausea and stuff like that. Sorry, it's bugs out here. And so he ended up referring me to a surgeon. And the surgeon was like, well, you know, what you're describing, it could be your gallbladder, it could not be your gallbladder. Like, maybe let's just try this one more thing to kind of see. So they ended up doing a HIDA scan, and that's where you have to drink something. It's kind of like Ensure. And you have to drink that, and then they do like this series of scans on your gallbladder and intestines and all of that to see if your gallbladder is functioning properly. Well, mine came back, it wasn't functioning properly, but it wasn't like terrible. And so the surgeon was like, well, we can take it out if you want to take it out, but maybe you don't need to take it out. But at that time, my mom was having she was very sick. She had pancreatitis, and she got, what happened was her gallbladder kept throwing gallstones into her pancreas. And so at that point, I was just like scared. So when that was like, you know, it wasn't functioning properly, I was like, just take it out, because I don't want to end up, you know, in the hospital with pancreatitis like she was, because it was just a bad time. And so I ended up having my gallbladder removed in September of 2017. And at this point, I hadn't been working out or anything majorly, because I was coaching soccer for like February, March, and April. So that pretty much took all of my free time after school. And by the time I got home, it was time to, you know, cook dinner, give the kids their baths, get ready for the next day. So I really wasn't working out like that. So like the fatigue and the pain and stuff was kind of going on, and then the digestive issues was going on. So it was just a lot. After I had my gallbladder removed, of course I couldn't work out because I had surgery. I also noticed that was difficult as well, just trying to figure out what to eat, what not to eat. And I was terrified, because there's so many articles and blogs and stuff on the internet that tell you you're not supposed to eat certain things after you have your gallbladder surgery. And so I was terrified to eat anything, because I was like, I'm gonna kill myself because I'm sitting here eating stuff that like my body can't digest or whatever. And so I had a couple of follow-up appointments with the gastroenterologist and the surgeon, and they were just saying, you need to eat, like, you're gonna be fine, don't listen to all of the hype on the internet, like, stop reading the internet, you just need to eat food, and eat food from different food groups. So I did that, but I wasn't feeling any better. And probably a couple of months after my surgery, I started noticing some of the same symptoms that I was having before I had my surgery. So I was just like, now I done sat up here, had surgery, got my gallbladder taken out, and missed work, all of this crazy stuff, and I'm still not feeling any better. But I was just kind of like on chill mode. I was like, whatever, it'll work itself out, da da da. Well, my pastor's wife was telling me she was having some issues too, and she ended up seeing a naturopathic doctor, and was telling me that this naturopathic doctor suggested some things to her, and she was feeling a little bit better. So I talked to my husband about it, because everything is out of pocket, like you can't file your insurance with it or anything like that. And I said, well, I've spent literally thousands of dollars having surgery, having all of these tests done, having these scans and all of this stuff done. I said, what do I have to lose? So in April, I went to visit the naturopathic doctor, and what she does is she pricks your finger and does a live blood sample and dried blood, and also like saliva test and urine test and all of that stuff to kind of see like the pH level of your system and all of that. So the first visit, she told me that we looked at my blood together under the microscope. She said I had parasites, I had yeast, there was an endocrine problem with my system, I mean like your adrenal glands, thyroids, all of that stuff. There was something else she said, but freaked me out. Like, I was devastated, because I literally felt like I was dying, and I was just like, I know I've been feeling crazy for all these years, and now like I'm finally seeing it. My blood wasn't getting, she said, yeah, my blood was clumped together, it looked like a honeycomb. And she was saying that I wasn't getting any oxygen to my brain, and that's probably where the headaches was coming from, and the lightheadedness and the confusion, because I had like brain fog. And when I was going to the neurologist, she told me that it was fibro fog from the fibromyalgia. But yeah, so sometimes I can't think clearly, I can't speak clearly. It's like a blur. Sometimes I can't remember a lot, so that's another reason why I had to sit down and write this stuff down. So it does interfere with my life at times, especially like at work, because sometimes I'm just absent-minded, which frustrates me because that's definitely not the type of person that I am. But anyway, so going back to the naturopathic doctor, she put me on like all these vitamins and supplements. It's like, do this daily, overwhelming. She recommended the blood type diet. For those of you who don't know anything about it, it's from like this scientist, what's his name, Peter, I think. It's Diadamo though. Anyway, his father, he observed his father doing something, and he came up with this whole blood type diet. The based on your blood type, you're only supposed to eat certain foods, and you're supposed to, you know, stay away from other foods, and again, overwhelming, because you basically have to change like your whole lifestyle up. So I did that for a couple of months, and I was stressed out. I was a little depressed because I'm just like, I don't want to have to do this for the rest of my life. So my follow-up appointment with her was June, I don't know, like June 9th, 12th, something like that. So just recently. And with my blood, I'm blood type O, and so I'm supposed to eat a lot of meat, which I was vegetarian, so that was something to deal with. I'm supposed to eat a lot of meat, like fruits and vegetables, but only certain fruits and vegetables. You can't eat all fruits and vegetables, which is crazy. But so, you know, I started doing that or whatever. And when I went back for my follow-up in June, I got worse. So like the number of parasites in my blood, if they are parasites, I don't even know, like quadrupled. My blood cells, instead of them just being like a honeycomb, now they were like stacked on top of each other, which is like a more serious and dangerous condition. She said that something degenerative was going on in my blood, and like that scared me, because I'm like, degenerative, that means I'm dying, right? So I was just like, okay, but I've been doing what you told me to do, and I got worse. So like, how does that happen? So where do we go from here? And by the time I had went back to her, I was feeling some type of way anyway, because it's just like, yeah, you can show me what my blood is showing you, but you can't do anything about it. Like you don't have the tools or resources to run any additional tests or to see what kind of parasites these are, and and everything is like money. That's how I was in my feelings anyway. So when she told me that, she was like, okay, I'm gonna put you on this type of regimen, and gave me like a whole bunch of other supplements and I was like, I'm not taking it. I went ahead and bought them, but I was like, let me hold off. And I went to my normal, like my family doctor, and I kind of told my family doctor what was going on, and I was like, I just need some blood work done. I said, I know something is going on with me. I don't know what. I'm not saying that doctor doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm not saying you don't know what you're talking about. I just need some answers. And so she did like a total metabolic panel on me, and you know, did some other kind of tests, tested me for like all autoimmune diseases and all of that stuff. And that was in June. So I asked her about taking the supplements and stuff, and she was just like, yeah, I would kind of hold off and wait, and just kind of see what your blood work comes back. And I was like, well, my blood work always comes back normal, and that's been the problem. I said, so I'm anticipating it to come back normal again. I said, and if it comes back normal, what then? Like, what's the next step? And she said, well, I can refer you to a specialist, probably in like Chapel Hill or somewhere where they've seen everything, and you know, they have access to different resources. And so I said, okay. So I felt good about that. So that week went by, the next week came, and I didn't hear anything. So I'm just like, you know, same old. They're just gonna send me my results in the mail. We're gonna be back at square one. Well, they called me on Wednesday, like right when I was leaving work, and the nurse said, well, we got your results back and you tested positive. These kids still out here popping fireworks, I'm sorry. You tested positive for ANA, which is an indicator of lupus. I was like, okay. And she was like, the doctor wants to know what specialist do you want her to refer you to. And so at this point, I'm kind of in shock. So I'm just like, wherever she thinks I need to go, I'm fine with. Because I'm just like, I mean, you can't just like breeze through that whole, you know, thing and that whole news factor, shock factor. And so she told me that, and like it was sort of a relief, because I'm like, okay, I have like a semi answer to what's been going on with me. But it's not a relief, because it's like, here's another condition that has no cure, and I'm not necessarily gonna get better. And so I think, to me, that was kind of devastating. So the first person I called was my sister, and I was like on the Google video Duo, whatever it is, and like I just broke down and like started crying. And she was like, what is wrong, what is wrong? And I ended up telling her, and she was just like, you know, it's gonna be all right. You know, you're gonna see the specialist and they're gonna tell you what's going on. And so my appointment to see I have to see a rheumatologist, and that appointment isn't until August. And so in between that time, I've been trying to research, and what I've found is that just because you test positive for ANA doesn't mean that you have lupus. I guess that means that something is going on, that there's something autoimmune going on, but it doesn't necessarily mean lupus. But what researchers have found is that everybody that has lupus most definitely tests positive for ANA, and so that's kind of where they get that from. But so yeah, that is my current diagnosis right now. So that's the backstory, and now I'm gonna make another video about my current diagnosis and more details of how I felt about that and what's going on, and you know, telling my family, telling a couple of friends, and just what I've been doing in the meantime between hearing that news and my upcoming appointment. So stay tuned for that, guys. And again, I'm trying to do these videos chronologically. Not sure if it's gonna happen like that every day, because, or all the time, because sometimes things just happen that I want to share. Like this whole week is the week of the 4th. I haven't been feeling well, and so I've been thinking about posting a video for that, but I didn't have my backstory up, so that would kind of be out of sequence. But anyway, so again, apologize for this video being almost 18 minutes long, so I'm gonna shut up now. But again, if you have any comments or anything, just put them below, and I'll be back with the next video about where I am today.